Greetings, Post-Pollock viewers from Roseland, New Jersey. Sunny, freezing cold Roseland, which is why I am wearing something other than just a tie today because I have to adapt to the weather. Plus, it's nice to keep my lawyer costume in the closet every now and then. What we're talking about today is something that all parents worry about, parents with kids, and that is the dangers of online gaming and what are your rights if your kid falls victim. There's a story we're about to watch. It's based in New York about a young boy, 15 years old in Long Island, who's gone missing. And he was known to have been online. It's a website or gaming platform called Roblox, where there have been allegations that there are predators lurking there, etc. We'll talk about all the legal ramifications, and I will note that Roblox has denied that anything about its website had anything to do with this boy's disappearance, and there really is no clear evidence of what exactly happened to this kid, and it's a shame. I mean, the poor kid's mother, the family, it's terrible, but we thought it best to talk about this issue. Whether it happened in this case or not, to me it doesn't matter, right? But what matters at first is we hope they find this kid and find him okay. But what matters is that there is a problem out there, not just at this gaming website, but in chat rooms and websites, and it's been going on since we had the internet start up. And there's been some progress, and then there's been some non-progress. So let's watch a little news video that talks about this case, and then we'll discuss it.
Well, police are still searching for a New York teenager who's been missing for more than 2 weeks. His parents believe he traveled to New York City to meet someone that he met on the gaming platform Roblox. Officials say 15-year-old Thomas Medlin was last seen at Grand Central Station in Manhattan on January 9th. Thomas's mother, Eva Yan, joins us now. Eva, thank you for coming on to talk about your son. What exactly happened on January 9th, two weeks ago?
So on January 9th was Friday. In the morning, he told us, Mom, I will stay in school. Just hang out with friends and the dorm, and the police picked me up at 9 p.m. So around 9 p.m. we was sure, because we encourage all this social interaction with friends, with kids. He said he never did that before. So at 9 p.m. my husband went to pick him up, and he waited, couldn't find him. So I told him, please reach out to the security. And he left the name with us because in the morning we asked him, whom you're gonna hang out with, and he didn't leave a name. So my husband gave the name to the security. They immediately reached out to the friend, and the friend said, I only went to class with him today, and I did not hang out with him. So all the security from campus got involved looking for Thomas, and went to all the dorm, couldn't find him. The search went up to 12 o'clock in the morning. And my husband and my friend and I went out to look for him at 1 o'clock in the 12:30. Yeah. After that, we reported to Suffolk County Police.
Okay, and you found out that he had, right after school at 3:30, had rushed over to the Stony Brook train station out on Long Island, taken the train into Grand Central. And I know the week before he had asked you, Mom, will you take me to Times Square? I really want to go to Times Square. Was he having chats with someone on Roblox? I know that surveillance video showed him on the platform in Grand Central. They tracked him, I think, based on his phone, over the Brooklyn Bridge. And he was notified. The notification said he was last seen in Brooklyn or last appeared in Brooklyn. Was he chatting with someone on Roblox? Was he going into the city to meet someone that he was in correspondence with on Roblox?
That was some friend told school. Thomas was talking to him, said, I met somebody through Roblox. I want to go meet this person. I believe this friend from school told him, said, don't go. It's not that safe. You have to watch out. So we didn't know all this. We found out when has been missing so long. So that was the latest information. What struck me during this time, because the time passed by each day, it become unbearable for us. It's when the officer and detectives trying to get information, it take a long time for all the social media to release the information. Even when sometimes when I call, I say I have a missing child. It's a minor.
Did
so
Roblox
police still
release
trying
anything?
to act.
What did you find out? Did Roblox tell you these messages?
I don't. At the last time I spoke to the detective, I believe it just released some of the information, but it's just still working through what else is out there. Just couldn't find like a lot of information, but still active working with Roblox.
So you have not
Trying to
seen
find
any
more.
messages. Were there messages between your son and whoever you think he was going to meet?
No.
No.
No,
What about
not at
what
all,
about the
because
information?
what he did, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can't Roblox go into the account, your son's account, and see who he's talking to, and then tell you who he was meeting and find out that person's location?
No, not yet, because what happened initially when he set up the Roblox, the email would come to my personal email account. In order for him to change it, it would come like 2 codes with me. But secretly, he was able to break that, switch it to different Roblox account. I found out there's like 5 different Roblox accounts, and he set up his own personal email through the cloud. So this whole thing, was very unclear to me. So it was almost bypassed my email. He was able to, set up different security word. So he was almost left us like under dust.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, let me first say, my heart goes out to this poor woman. I mean, I can't imagine. I have kids, they're grown now, but I can't imagine having a 15-year-old disappearing into Manhattan in the middle of, by the way, this winter, which is, we're having a very cold winter, and I'm sure that if you're in other areas of this country, you're having the same experience. I mean, I hear they're having cold weather throughout the South and elsewhere. It's brutal. But more than that, a missing child out in cold, cruel New York, and listen, I love New York, but it ain't where I want my 15-year-old kid wandering around. It's horrible. There's often a tendency to say, well, the mother and the father, they should have been paying attention. Yes, you can take precautions and this and that, but the woman seems concerned. And, this is where you get caught unawares and you don't know what your rights are. We're going to talk about all of them, but you want to prevent this from happening. I guess the first line of defense is us, parents, family members, keeping tabs on what our kids are doing. It's hard to do when they have iPhones, when they have tablets, when they have laptops, they can contact anybody. I will add, Roblox has denied that the connection or the gaming on their website had anything to do with the disappearance of this boy. Maybe that's true. Maybe it turns out it was completely unrelated to his online gaming, but based on what one of his classmates told the school or the parents, it may have been that way. And we will talk about that in a second, and we'll talk about all these legal implications, but I just wanted to comment that the first line of defense isn't your lawyer, it's not anybody else, it's you, it's the family. It's hard to do, but maybe you limit contact, you limit the online gaming, and we're talking about the gaming platforms. So, a kid playing games at home on his own or his or her own, they shouldn't be doing that all day, but it's where they get on these platforms and it's almost like a chat room, except you're playing a game and bad people go in there because they know kids like this are going to be in there. Let's watch some more of the video and then we'll get into the legal end of it.
That was what happened.
Eva, let me share with you what Roblox is saying. They say, we share everyone's hope for Thomas Medlin's safe return, and our thoughts are with him and his family. We conducted a thorough review to support law enforcement's investigation and found no attempts to direct him to an off-platform communication method or sharing of off-platform contact information, including users' names, phone numbers, or other communication methods. We will continue to provide any assistance that we can. So this is a chance. If your son is watching, what is your message?
I just want him to know we love him deeply and he's not in trouble at all. Whatever he did, we understand. And please, we just want him to tell us he's safe, because thinking about that each day, will he be? Is he safe? It's really put us, and it's like in hell, more than hell. So that's a deep message. We love him so much. We want him even send us a message, whoever this person he's staying with, have a kind heart. Let us parents know or the family friend know, he's safe. Nobody's going to harm him. That's the big message. Whenever he's ready to come home, let us know when we pick him up. And he's not in trouble at all. We love him more than anything in our life.
I know you say he's intellectually, he's just brilliant, beyond his age, speaks like a college student, and he's only 15, which is at 9th grade. What can the public know about your son? What is he like?
He has been involved a lot. He's very athletic. very loving person, has a very good heart. He played tennis, played ping pong with me, very good ping pong player. He's a world traveler. We have been taking him to Italy, to Greece, to Vancouver, to China, to Japan, to Canada, to so many places. He has been traveling almost every year. And also he's a black diamond skier. We bring him to ski every single year. Wow. And also we have a cabin in New York. He's a snowmobile rider, a dirt bike rider. He plays piano, went to Carnegie Hall to play, won the second place internationally. Wow. He speaks Chinese. Speaks Spanish, Chinese taken for more than 10 years.
Yeah. Eva.
And everybody he crossed in life, loves him.
You have given him a
so
great
much.
life, and I know he wants to come home. If anyone has any information, please call police to help bring Thomas Medlin back home. He's only 15 years old and has a whole life ahead of him. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll be saying prayers for him.
Thank you so much for putting me on.
Okay, folks, first of all, if you have eyes, folks, any viewers, be on the lookout. Anything I could do, I'd love to do. I hope just airing this helped to find this boy, because this, again, is the worst nightmare for a parent. They look like very loving parents, and he seems like a wonderful kid. You don't have to be a wonderful kid for everybody to care about you, by the way. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to, and these kids go missing every day. Kids get exploited every day. So how does this all work? Again, Roblox says they see no evidence that this has happened on their platform. Well, okay, maybe it did, but maybe it has in other cases. Maybe it has with other gaming companies. And this is how it works. It's basically like the original internet problem area with this was the chat rooms. And I go in, Dave Epstein, I'm in my 60s, and I'm posing as a 21-year-old swimsuit model. And I say I'm this and that, and I get to talking, and you eventually gain the trust an impressionable kid. You're talking about a kid who's 10, 12, 13, 14 years old. Then more you get to know, say, oh, we'd love to meet. And you know where this all goes. You know how it works. So the question is, how do you protect that? Well, these gaming platforms and the chat rooms all say they have systems designed to prevent that, to monitor, to do this, to do that. And maybe they do. Maybe they try. But folks, it's still the Wild West out there. And, then you run into the other problems. Now, first of all, what do they do to protect? There is some federal and state law that's been put into effect. I'm looking up. There was the Child's Online Privacy Protection Act. It requires parental consent, but it also talks about privacy. Now, Protection of Child Victims from Online Predators Act. This is a bill, an initiative. As of 2024. 2024, the fact that we're proposing a bill in 2024 for this type of thing, to me, shows you how we're missing the boat. And in the meantime, you have provisions. We talk about Roblox, for example. You have provisions that protect online gaming companies and other social media platforms from lawsuits for predators succeeding in exploiting children on their sites. That gives them immunity. There was an act that put in place an immunity for platforms from being sued. Now, they're trying to get around that by, for example, saying they were negligent in setting up their safeguards. Right now, Roblox is facing a lawsuit. Well, it's multi-district litigation, and just so you understand what that is. Something like this happens, maybe somebody else sees it and says, well, that happened to my kid on Roblox. And then all of a sudden, you get all these people out, and they say, this happened to our kids on Roblox. Whether it did or didn't, I am not commenting. I don't know. But people say it did, and they say the same thing. My kid was on there, predators got him, they did this, they exposed themselves, they kidnapped, whatever they did some horrible thing to a kid, and they file a suit somewhere. They consolidate those cases into one case because they all involve common issues. Maybe it's not a true class action suit, but it's multi-district litigation where they try to manage it. You have the same discovery. We're finding out, for example, what does Roblox do to protect kids? I mean, you can say, we're going to protect kids, but what do you actually do? How do you monitor who's talking to whom on that site? And it seems to me that this young man found different ways to get around his parents. In other words, he was supposed to go through his father's email, and I'm sure his father thought, okay, well, I'm covered here. I got control over this. And these kids are smart. And, and it's kind of like when I was a kid and you sneak into a movie that's got an R rating, or you're doing something that you're trying to do that your parents don't want you to do. Whatever the case may be, a kid gets into that website and they're talking to God knows who. Now, there are so many ways that people could fake their credentials and who they are and what they are. Oh, I'm just a 13-year-old and I'm playing games. Maybe you're a 55-year-old man who's a sex predator. Maybe you're a Megan's Law registrant and you're on that platform and nobody knows it. So that is where the lawsuits are going. They're trying to get around these immunities that have been given by some by federal law by saying, well, this is more of a not following the law. You did not put up safeguards that are required by the law. You were negligent in setting them up. Whether they weren't, I don't know, but it seems to me this stuff goes on and on and on. And it's a comment on our society. On the one hand, everybody loses their mind when something like this happens. Oh, we got to have child safety laws, and they've proposed them, they've passed them, but you have that sentiment, that interest in society, parents, schools, police who are interested in that and making sure kids don't get exploited. And on the flip side, you have the interests of business. And some of them legitimate. You know, they don't want to get sued for everything. If a kid goes on and does something reckless, notwithstanding all the good efforts of a social media platform, you know, these lawsuits can bankrupt them and they have employees too, maybe, or whatever. But still, that's what it is. It's money talk sometimes. So you get immunities put in. That creates problems as far as protection. Then you have the next other issue that came up in this case. Okay, my kid's missing. One of his classmates said he was on Roblox and he was talking to somebody, and based on what child said, or his kid, a friend of his said, he was going to meet him. Well, you know, maybe that's, how credible is that? Well, I don't know why a kid would make that up. Honestly, what? I don't know. It's a lead in a case of a missing child, and I understand he's still missing now after 2 weeks. So maybe 3. And this is a few days old, this video. So what's the natural inclination? Somebody should go into Roblox and scour everything. Scour it. Give it to the police and keep the parents informed. They have a right to know what's going on. You know, I understand you can't have every piece of information in an investigation, but I will tell you, I would be out of my ever-loving mind if my child was missing. I had heard that he was on Roblox, that it was a meeting set up on Roblox, and I hear, well, we're negotiating with them to, you know, as to what they will provide. And that brings into play in this whole thing a whole other set of laws in societal interest, that's privacy. The social media companies, you know, promise you when you sign up for Roblox that we will maintain the privacy of your information. Only in certain circumstances will we give it up. Well, when they have enough documentation from law enforcement and everybody else that, hey, there's a kid missing, there are reports that this child was on your website gaming and he met somebody and he's going to go meet them. You should be required, if you're not going to volunteer it, which I would hope you would do, you should be required to give that information over immediately. Not, oh, we're going to look through and say we don't see anything in there. They're talking about the kid was creating accounts. He's apparently a smart kid, so maybe he knows how to dodge their system and get around parental blocks and parental controls, whatever. But they, you know, listen, I'm no Bill Gates, but I know that there are systems, and that if it's your system, your platform, you'll be able to know what communications and what transmissions occur. And if you don't, you don't. Then you should be able to, by the way, that's another thing that should be put into place. But you should be giving that information to the police and to the parents. And sometimes to the parents, because they know, they may hear a name or somebody say, oh, wait, that's my son's friend. That's his girlfriend. That's my daughter's boyfriend. That's whatever. So you have all these conflicting societal and legal issues and interests involved. And meanwhile, you have a 15-year-old boy who's missing. The only lead we have as to where he is or what happened to him, and again, it may have nothing to do with Roblox. We don't know. But the only lead you have is that this young man was on Roblox and was going to meet somebody. So at some point, maybe, we know there are some states that have been proactive with this and getting laws in effect. Although if the federal government creates a statute that governs this area, there's a doctrine called preemption. Preemption means that if the federal government has the right under the Constitution to get involved in an area of industry or business or anything, society, whether it's under the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, etc., and it can get into something that would ordinarily be the state's business, then and it decides to legislate, it preempts any state laws. So state laws can't be enforced necessarily, or the government could say, you're not allowed to touch that. That's our area. Your law is invalid due to the doctrine of preemption, and it's happened. So you need the federal government to find some balance, but of course we know how our government at work. So you want this, oh, okay, you want me to put a privacy law in, well, I want you to put funding in for this thing over here and this and that. And when it comes to children and the safety of children, and not just children, any person who can be victimized. Another area where you see victimization in these platforms, maybe even Roblox gaming platforms, is scams, people getting robbed. Once you're interacting with somebody on a gaming site, if they can gain your trust, they can get you to do a lot of things. If you're a trusting person, you're vulnerable, you're not terribly strong, whatever the reason, they can take advantage of you. And it happens every single day. There should be some way of monitoring what is going on in these rooms, these chat rooms. Now, I realize it depends on how many people are playing, and of course the gaming companies want as many people as they can. Well, maybe somebody should at least be testing the waters and going in to have people going in and seeing what people are discussing, and that people can watch what they're doing. Now, I'm a big fan of privacy, and I am so concerned about AI and the way Big Brother is operating these days. But when it comes to protecting kids, we already know that the intelligence agencies can come in and look at our phone calls or anything else. So they're already monitoring us. Well, if you're going to do it, folks, government, do it, or the gaming companies, do it in a way that protects those who are most vulnerable. But you have to have legislation that's consistent, coherent, and a package deal. Protecting privacy, making sure that people who are victims of these types of situations can go to court and seek legal redress under the right circumstances. Not for everything, but for some, making sure that they have to disclose when a problem like this arises. As always, it comes down to a matter of legislation. Keep your fingers crossed as to whether we get our act together. Unfortunately, I'm a cynic when it comes to that. But this is where the law stands now, with these conflicting interests and views, and there's no clear answer, there are no clear guidelines. So the best defense is do whatever you can possible to monitor what your kids are doing. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Hope to see you back next time. Please hit like and subscribe. Please leave your comments, and we'll be signing off now and see you next time. Dave Epstein for the Post Pollock Firm. So long, folks.